Welcome back to another episode of Season 5 of the RAG podcast. As you guys know by now, this is the #1 podcast across the recruitment sector globally. And we've always been on a mission to help recruitment agencies grow by interviewing founders and telling their stories of success from startup all the way to scale up and exit. Well, this season we're a little bit different. How do you, as a recruitment leader and founder, maintain your family and friendships whilst being the best person at work? How do you stay physically fit mentally and emotionally? And how do you find time for yourself in the madness? How do you find time for self-interest, for hobbies, and self-improvement? Well, to help you with this, I'm going to be interviewing someone every single week that can demonstrate experience in one or more of these areas. So I'm going to talk to recruitment founders and also some experts from outside the industry who can deep dive into things like relationships and health and well-being. So sit back, relax, and I hope you enjoy today's show. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the RAG podcast. On today's episode, I am joined by Jamie Trevett and Tony Robbins, the founders of the Just Group Recruitment. Now, Tony Robbins is also a very famous speaker. So I don't want to get you confused and too excited, but this Tony Robbins did actually work in sales and for a while worked on a TV channel where he sold equipment. So you could say it's the Tony Robbins off TV, but maybe not the right one. But these guys are Bromley based. They own an agency that's been going for 10 years this year. They recruit across the construction market, and they have about 24 staff. Now, the reason I wanted to interview these guys is, one, they're just so down to earth and genuine. They are one of our Hoxo clients. I love every interaction with Jamie and Tony. But they've been through some really tough times. In the pandemic, they actually shrunk down to 6 people. When you've been together for 10 years, to go down to 6. And then when they went into the second lockdown in the January of 2021, they genuinely felt like the business might go under. They'd taken a huge loan to build the business again through COVID, and then their market, which is all outwardly facing, crashed again in the early 2021, and they genuinely thought they'd go under. In the pandemic, they also exited and parted ways with one of the original founders. So they've been through the breakup of a founder and their business on its knees in the pandemic, and managed to rise again to the point where they've grown to one of their, I think they are the biggest, both financially and headcount they've ever been. And they've got exciting expansion plans to go out into the US. Really honest guys, really genuine. Anyone in the recruitment sector will empathize with these guys. So without further ado, Jamie, Tony, welcome to the RAG podcast.
Welcome, Sean. Welcome, Sean. Well, thanks for having us, I guess.
It's the first time anyone's welcomed me on my own show. So thank you. Yeah. Feel good. Thank you, Todd. Thank you both. Guys, it's a pleasure. I think me and Jamie have been speaking about this for a while. I think he's been a fan of the show, I believe, and wanted to be on for a long time. And I'm glad we finally got around to it.
Well, originally when you first started this out, there was discussions. I think you reached out to me and said, like, I'm doing this podcast, thinking about being on it. And I was like, yeah, we'll be on it. And that was years. That was about 3 years.
It took 3 years, but we got it.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, you become too big for me to get on it. It's taking that time to get on it now.
No, man, that's not true. That's not true. I just wait. You just got to wait till the right time. Today felt the right time. So, but look, guys, thank you for taking the time out. I'm going to individually ask you some questions because it is tricky with 2 people. Jamie, do me a favor. For anyone who doesn't know you, just give us an overview of who you are and what your job is in the business today.
Yes, I'm Jamie Trevett. 10 years now operating as the managing director for the Just Group. My role effectively is more operational and strategic for the business now. Driving the business into different markets and helping Tony really from a strategic perspective as to where the business is going to go and grow. Anything, if you like, from finance all the way through to marketing, with the support of you good people.
Yeah.
And I guess strategic direction. That's pretty much where my job is.
Are you not in sales anymore in recruitment?
Well, you say that we've recently started driving into the US, so I will be taking on the kind of US sales function and driving that expansion into the US. So I will be jumping back on a desk and get the cobwebs off and see how good I actually am. And,
Go on, mate.
It's been a while since probably about two years since I was billing. So yeah, it'll be an interesting journey for people either to see me crash and burn. But yeah, I'm excited by it. To be fair, I'm really excited by the US.
Good luck, mate. I'm excited for you too. Tony, what about yourself?
So yeah, obviously Tony Robbins. Part my main function in the business at present is the learning and development side of the business. I help with a lot of the training. Especially since COVID, we've had a lot of new people come into the company. So a lot of the whole 360 training aspect, I get involved in that side. I help manage the floor across all the divisions that we've got as well. Keep an eye obviously on the sales function, pipeline, that side of things. So yeah, it's a bit of an all-encompassing role. I'll get involved in sales as well. It's just quite a lot of learning, training, support to the team within the within the group.
And do us a favor, Tony. How would you describe? Give us the overview, the bird's eye view of the Just Group. How many people? Where you're based? Divisions, etc.
So we're based in Bromley in Kent. There's 6 divisions. We've currently got 24 people within the company, ranging obviously from the sales team through to compliance, office manager, finance, director, and a non-exec as well. Within each division, it's construction recruitment, it's specialist divisions, predominantly within the subcontract market, so mechanical, electrical, interior fit out, groundworks, building envelopes, which is the facade, the glazing, the roofing, the cladding side, and we work with building products, the sales people within that. So we've got the different divisions within each division, each consultant.
Have they all got different names? I remember, like each one's got their own brand.
Yeah, so just building services, just building envelopes, just sales, just construction, just interiors.
Yeah,
we took the Rontour approach, didn't we? Yeah, that's exactly what it says on the tin. We used to be called Anderson Weber Construction many years ago when we first started out.
Anderson Weber.
Anderson Weber. Yeah, again, don't ask. We can get into that. That was Alan's idea. I think our old business partner.
Anderson, like my name.
Yeah, it was an Anderson Weber.
We chose 2 names at the time.
Based on anyone? Do you know any Andersons apart from me?
Yeah. Jimmy Anderson, the bowler for England, was the Anderson, and the Weber was a piano teacher at my son's school.
Not Andrew Lloyd Webber then.
No, he was a piano teacher.
Wow. I'll be honest. If you'd have said to me, "Where does Anderson Weber come from?" I would never have thought the two people were put together. Incredible. So why did you change it?
Well, I think the business kind of changed. It was a strange setup at the beginning. So taking you back.
When did you start? Let's go back to start. When did you start?
2012. Tony and Alan had decided to set up on their own, leaving our old stomping ground of Humres. I'd already left the business to join one of James Kahn's many kind of venture capitalist approaches. And Tony and Alan set up Anderson Weber. That was mainly focused on facades, wasn't it? And M&E.
Yeah.
Sorry, just explain what does that facades and M&E?
Facades is like the outsides of a building. So if you look at the yard, all of the glazing, that's called a facade. The kind of externals of a building, and mechanical and electrical that Tony kind of headed up. And probably about 6 months after you guys had started, I was running my own company again, another strange name, James Rose. That was my old pseudonym, so I used that to set up, and that was going all right for kind of 6 months. And I think both businesses were doing well. But as you probably know, Sean, I'm a little bit of a head case to a point, but I suffer from ADHD, and I bounce off the walls on my own at home. So I needed to have that kind of office feel and work with.
You guys worked together before, though, so you all knew each other.
We had, yeah. We'd all worked. So Tony was a manager at Humres and managed Alan, and I worked in the sales team. Strangely enough, we kind of tried to join up within the business, but they wouldn't let me join Tony's team because I worked with one of the directors and made him look good. So I think he wouldn't let me leave. So yeah, a bit of a strange one, but we ended up kind of getting together. And I think initially you guys offered me a job.
Yeah, I mean, we kept in touch even after you left. But yeah, we got in touch, and yeah, I mean, we started to speak. We opened up a dialogue, didn't we?
Yeah, I told Alan to piss off. I said, I'm not going to join you as an employee, and it kind of left it there for
how would that, how were both businesses performing then? So you've got two individual entities, and was yours similar to theirs or different market? Or
mine, because my background was mainly kind of sales, building products, which is anything from interior, exterior products, ceiling, lighting, furniture within an office, and also interior fit out. So if you look at, let's say for instance, what's the big group, Regis or WeWorks, companies that actually go and fit that out. So I was kind of in a separate market, to be fair, so we weren't really competing against each other, but the timing just came right, and I think we decided to kind of join together. But we'd set up a separate entity called Anderson Weber Construction. So the guys had invested some money and had their own part going that was doing relatively well. So we decided to separate them out, and after about 6 months we found that the construction one was paying for the other one. So we kind of amalgamated the two businesses and then changed the name not long after that to the Just Group. We had the same vision as almost like EasyJet, Easy Group, Easy Coffee, Easy Hotel, etc.
Yeah. So where did the word Just come from?
It just come out of nowhere, I guess. Ultimately, I think Alan pulled it out. To be fair,
he did. I think it was just a word that could lead easily on to other words. Just this, just that. And
it's memorable, isn't it? It's memorable.
It is. Well, and it's exactly what it says on the tin. I studied marketing and branding when I was at uni, and a lot of you look at businesses that are very generic in name. I've heard your story about why you chose Hoxo and stuff, and
the opposite of yours.
Anderson Weber. I mean, what does that mean? Is that a law firm? Is that an accountancy practice? What do you do? And branding is all about being identifiable and resonate with people. So we decided to shift it up, and we've had a couple of rebrands actually to this point, and we've actually now got each brand operates under its own kind of color scheme and everything else. So it's really identifiable as that specific brand rather than being part of the Just Group.
Yeah, I love it. What did you guys do before? Did you all work in the industries that you recruit? Did you sell or work in M&E? Or
I mean, I'm older than I'm 15 years older than Jamie, so I was 50 this year. I was 50 this year. So I actually started off in retail sales. So that's where I come from. I've done 15 years in a department store selling beds.
Right.
So I'd done that for 15 years, and then I worked for a company called Orders, which was quite a big department store across the UK.
Yeah.
That had been going for over 100 years. Then it's a bit of a long story, but a guy come in, actually tried to rebrand it, and within 18 months it had gone bust.
Wow.
So anyway, I left there. I went on the road for a couple of years being a rep, and I'd done that, which was fine. And then I can remember I was sitting over in Worcester Park over in Surrey one day reading the Evening Standard, and there was just an advert. It just said recruitment consultant required for London construction company. Little advert, phoned it up, got an interview, second interview, and then I joined, and I was 34 then, so I actually got into recruitment at 34. So I'd say I'm 50 now. So
yes, you didn't have that long. You didn't do, what did you do, a few years before you set up then, like 5 years, 4 or 5 years?
I've done 6 years. I've done 6 years there and then left, and we've been doing this now. This is our 10-year anniversary this year. So
wow.
So I've always kind of been in sales, retail. I loved retail, very service, very obviously face to face. It was fantastic, loved it. And then on the road selling carpets and rugs and things like that, again selling. And then now I've just for the last 16 years sold people.
You missed out the fact that you were on TV selling it as well. It weren't quite a QVC, but it was something along those lines.
I was on Ideal World. I went on Ideal World shopping channel.
Go on.
Yeah. Well,
did you do well?
Well, it was when I was working for a company called William Arms, a rugs and doormat sort of company, and they got a contract with Ideal World, and they wanted someone from the company to. You basically have someone from the Ideal World shopping channel who calls out all the numbers and what colours are available, but it wanted someone from the company actually knowing the spec of what was being sold. So
we could say that the Just Group's owner is Tony Robbins, the celebrity TV speaker. And it wouldn't be a lie. It wouldn't be a lie.
Great marketing scheme.
Not a fucking lie.
There's
there you go. You can have that one for free, guys. You can have that one for free.
I've also wrote 100 best-selling books. And
the power within your carpet. I love it. So, all right, take us back to the time when so Jamie, interestingly, you said ADHD, bouncing around your own house. Take me back to the time when you were on your own for a bit. What is that actually like? Because there's a lot of recruiters I've met that, you know, they spend the whole fucking day walking around the office, hitting golf balls and shit in the office, like putting, because they can't sit down. Like, it's just the nature of a lot of sales people.
Do that. See what happens. Yeah. Well, I would have done if I was about 5 or 6 kilos lighter. But yeah, so for me, I kind of left university. You know, I think me and you are not too dissimilar in age.
Yeah.
I left university during the recession after 2008, and kind of fell into recruitment like everybody does. Went and met Michael Page, I think it was, and decided that I would try and get a job in procurement, which I've been doing for a year with an investment bank. They offered me a job. Didn't have a clue what recruitment was, so I told them to piss off. Then kind of started looking at it and thinking, well, I don't think I'm going to get a job in this market. Yeah. So decided to fall into recruitment. Did that with Humres for sort of about 16 months. Then moved to there was a company called Broadgate Associates, and then they got sold out. Again, it was a loose business of Hamilton Bradshaw. So that got sold out and started kind of going tits up, to be fair. So we ended up moving over to another company, and they offered a few of us, like, I think it was commission-only contracts. And I was like, well, I think working for a commission-only contract, you can piss off. So went on holiday with my missus, who's now my wife, and said, you know what, I'm going to do it for myself. I always wanted to. I studied business management and marketing and branding.
You were pretty young then. You were in early 20s, or 23?
Yeah. I think I was about 20, what am I now, 30? So it must have been about, probably 24, 25.
Yeah.
Started on my own for about 6 months. And as I said, the guys reached out and we kind of went for a few beers and, you know, had a few chats as to, and I think ultimately looking back now, you know, I think, again, it's probably me patting myself on the back, but I think I was the missing piece to the puzzle.
Yeah.
You know, Tony's a fantastic trainer and coach, great salesman. Alan is probably, to be brutally honest, out of the three of us, was the best recruiter.
Yeah.
And I was much more strategic and focused on business. And, you know, when we first got together, they didn't realise they had to put money aside to pay VAT. So there was, the VAT man was coming after them. So there was I think I brought a lot of skill sets that the guys didn't have.
But what was that? What was the 6 months like on your own, though? That's what I'm interested, because the reason I ask is a lot of people go out on their own and they do fear that. They fear that, you know, shit, I'm on my own in my underpants kind of. I don't think I could do it. I'll be honest. I don't think I could have started a company on my Todd. Like, I just don't think it's my personality.
It's hard work. I think, you know, you've got to be I don't want to say a special type of person. That sounds terrible, but you've got to have a particular type of a personality that allows you to stay within your own thoughts and be focused and structured on your own. And that's not, you know, for me, I feed off of the energy of people, you know, hence the reason I love the office. And I think it's a great buzz to be around other people. And when I was on my own, I found it, I don't want to say dark and depressing after a while, but it was, you know, there's no one to share that joke with. You know, I genuinely, I remember something happened and it was quite funny. And I spun around in my chair to tell somebody, and there was a wardrobe. My missus had already gone to work, and I was just sitting there thinking, you know, this is shit. This is not what I want to do. And it was just perfect timing that the guys reached out and we'd had a couple of beers and I got friends round and we'd had I think somebody's birthday. I think it was either my birthday or somebody's birthday. And we'd discussed it with friends of mine, close friends, saying, look, you know, a couple of guys I used to work with that I get on very well with have kind of reached out. And they were like, you'd be stupid not to do it. You know, they know me well enough and thought, you know, yeah, he's gonna go crazy on his own or do something stupid.
Were you making money at that point? Were you doing?
I was doing all right. Yeah, I mean, I'd started billing money. I wasn't flying. I'm not going to sit and say that I was absolutely flying, but I was building that client rapport. I had a few good clients on, so I was able to kind of transition that straight over and bought a bit of business straight into the new company, and we hit the ground running there. So so it was a strange time, you know, working on your own. You're left with your own thoughts, your own anxieties, your own problems and everything else, and as I said, some people love that. You know, Tony's somebody that fishes a lot and, you know, he enjoys his own company, whereas, you know, for me, I don't mind probably a day on my own when the wife and kids go to the in-laws. You get that break, but after a while I need that hectic environment back.
Yeah, I think, do you know what, I look back and I think times are so different now than they were then, and maybe my life and I look back to when I started Hoxo. I was living in Crystal Palace, so not far from you. My Amma was in Blackheath, and Mark, one of the lads we started with, was in Manchester, and we me and Amma basically took Regis space, just like a £100 a month like hot desk in the Mall London on London Bridge, and we just went in every day. Like we got the training every day. We met, we worked, we went around London, we met clients. Like we kind of tried to treat it just like we did in recruitment. We went, the office was not that different in terms of location, and loads of face-to-face meetings, and it was great. And I don't think I could have sat there in my own house just on my own. But looking at my life now, because I'm on Zoom calls all day, even though I'm literally got 2 dogs in this room now, and that's where I typically work. I've got a little office space down the road that I barely use, to be honest. I quite like it because I'm literally back to back. So in the little gaps I get, I don't really want to chat to someone else. I just want to make a drink or cook or go and have a walk or clear my head and go again. And I think the dynamic of the job's changed, hasn't it? The way we interact with people has changed. Because you guys, when I met you, because you came and met me as soon as Hoxo started, really.
We met in a hotel in Tower Bridge.
Citizen M. So basically, when I had that office in Regis, we realised that Citizen M over the river was way cooler, and you could sit there all day. You could sit there all day and just buy a coffee. And I was like, we got to the point where they used to put these signs on the table saying, you know, if you're not buying, you got to go, because we'd spend like 12 hours and buy 1 coffee. But you guys came and met us then, and didn't you have a London office as well as a Bromley?
We did, yeah. At that stage, we had another office in the Shard complex. I think it's now the News Building.
The mini
Shard, as it's known. We like to jazz it up and sound better. But it was great, to be fair. It was a Regis space. And it was lovely. It was much nicer than the office that we had. As you can imagine, it was all modern and beautiful. So we went in there, and it was going well for a while, and then Brexit come and kicked us right in the ghoulies. So we made sense for us to kind of scale it back and bring it back to Bromley, where we've got a much larger space and hadn't filled that up by that stage anyway.
Why did you need London and Bromley though? They're so close. Like, what would be
the problem for us is again, if you're in Bromley, we're in a strange place. And I remember speaking to I think it was yourself or I'm sure it was you, that you had a client in Clapham previously, and you did a lot of functions and stuff for them because they had the same problem. Just trying to get people to come out into Clapham, and you know, whilst Bromley is a recruitment hub, it's a lot of IT recruiters and healthcare was massive here for a while before IR35.
London just gives you the option to draw people in from north, south, east, west.
Hertfordshire and everywhere
more
else.
about talent than anything else.
Yeah, not egos in the Shard. No.
But I didn't know if it was clients or there was more London-based clients or anything like that. No,
a lot of our business is still London and the southeast. But I think we were probably naive to a strategic approach as to ensuring that we had a hub and that we would train our own staff and develop people properly. We thought that, you know, it was the gold rush. As soon as we got into London, we'd have everybody knocking on our door, and you know, we would flash out a 15 to 20 man office really quickly. But as lovely as London is and as broad as it is, you're competing with mass amounts of other recruiters who are
9,000 agencies.
How many?
9,000 in the city.
Wow, there you go. And
we also saw a lot of clients actually come out of the city who had offices there. They started going out to the home counties, I guess, for cost, for space. You know, so actually being in the city itself, you know, and then like Jamie said, Brexit come, and it kind of just
it refocused our mind, didn't it? I think, as to what we should be doing and where we should be spending our money and our time.
And we thought if we can get over Brexit, then it'll be full steam ahead.
Why did Brexit affect your industry so much?
I think it was just more the stop-start process. It was the uncertainty as to where we going, where we not, and we were kind of battling that for about 3 years, weren't we? Do you remember there was every 3 months it felt like there was a new sign-in, and then there was a new approach from Boris or whoever it was, Theresa May, I think at the time, was coming out, new statements, and it just kept causing backlogs to projects to kick off, because, you know, construction is predominantly private investment unless the government really step up. And it's a lot of foreign investors. So it's for them, I think it was a case is London going to be the hub that it has always been? So it had that knock-on effect to projects kicking off and major projects as well. So whilst it didn't kind of kill the industry by any stretch, it just kept stop-starting. So we just had sales that there was no rhythm to what we were able to do. You know, and to be honest, we were just surviving.
So how many people you got now, did you say?
It's 24.
24.
24.
Right, and how many people when you joined as a 3? Was it just 3 of you, or did you have a few people at that point?
There was one other guy. There was a young chap called Harrison who was working with Alan. So it was just the 4 of us. Then we hired an office manager. So it was
The 4 of us.
How have you found, obviously, going back to early days and now, how have you found the growth journey of hiring and training? Because that seems to be the bit that, every good recruiter starts an agency. They know what they're doing. They build. They tend to rocket pretty quick in terms of income, and then only a small percentage ever break and grow big agencies. Some stay super small. You guys are kind of in that middle ground. How have you found that? Because that's got to be the hardest part of the business, right?
I think you have a choice as a business. Like I say, you can be on your own in your own room earning your money. That's fine. You can set up a business, and you can have take Harrison, the first guy at the equation, myself, Jamie, and Alan in a room. 3 pretty good recruiters. If you want to earn some money, the 3 of us with low overheads, you can do it. I think there comes a point in your business where you decide if you want to scale your business up, if you want to take it further, and you have to have a plan to do that. But it's interesting, going ahead in the story a little bit with COVID. COVID kind of took us, like a lot of companies, it really knocked the business for 6. We had people who worked for us who left, who wanted to do new things outside of the industry. We unfortunately had one of our guys actually had a mental breakdown. He actually got sectioned, Wow. And so after coming back from COVID, we were kind of back to, what was there, 6 of us?
Back to their bums, yeah. It was a really, really tough period.
How many did you have going into COVID?
Probably, 16,
17 of us.
Wow.
Yeah. So again, we were at a point where we had to make a decision. Should me and Jamie just sit in a room and do it ourselves and earn good money again and be okay, or do we go again? Do we build a business again?
Well, we had the process of Alan, who was obviously our partner at the time, and during COVID, Alan, decided that he wanted to go in a different strategic direction than myself and Tony. So we kind of ultimately decided that we would part ways.
What do you mean by different strategic direction?
So he wanted to take the business in probably a smaller, kind of more lean business, to be fair to him, given the fact that the market was still very volatile, which, to be brutally honest, was probably a sensible decision. But we decided that we wanted to go again, and we'd kind of spent the best part of 7, 8 years building a business and a reputation and a brand and everything else, and we were good at what we did. So we decided that we wanted to go again, and ultimately we kind of parted ways. Sadly, it's not ended the best way that you would like it to, but that's business, and it's never.
Do you still speak to him, or?
No, not really. We're kind of on. I don't want to say. I guess
To be fair to Alan, he put leads our way when he started. If he saw anybody that he knew that we would be interested in, he put them our way.
It's been amicable.
Yeah, I'm not saying we're going out for beers with him, but it wasn't like a complete cut.
I imagine you had to buy his shares and stuff, so he.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately at that stage it weren't worth much. So it was, the business was genuinely in a bit of a pickle. So, it was really testing times, as it was for a lot of people, a lot of businesses going bust. We had a lot of clients going bust, people that owed us money, mass amounts. April was flying, wasn't it? It was absolutely flying. It was going to be our record month.
Yeah.
We had record numbers on the board. The staff were buzzing. It was great. And then all of a sudden, boom, straight off the edge of the cliff. March died, and suddenly you're sitting there thinking, how are we paying his bills?
So at what point in COVID did all that happen with Alan?
Didn't it?
It was right at the beginning.
It was like the February time.
Yeah, February, March. We knew it was coming. It was coming, and we'd seen that construction is a very strange market. It kind of affected construction quite quickly, didn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it was in the country, COVID. I honestly don't believe it. Obviously, none of us expected what was going to happened, but it was kind of in that January, February time.
Yeah, three-week lockdown, wasn't it?
I went to Dubai end of Jan, and I remember, I'll never forget, I was driving in a cab, and I was reading like Sky Sports News, and I was like, players were leaving China, and I remember reading Marouane Fellaini leaves China due to COVID, right? So I'm like, what? And then and at the same time, the taxi driver was like, oh, you're gonna have to start wearing masks soon as COVID's coming. I was thinking, whatever. Get out my hotel, the cab, walk in the lobby of the hotel, and who's in the lobby? Marouane Fellaini stood there. Fucking hell. And then I got back and did throughout February, I did a couple of rags, and yeah, it just escalated, didn't it? It's like,
did you boo him as a City fan? Did you? Did you boo him? You're a City fan, aren't you?
Yeah, I didn't. Nah, I mean, he's a big old bloke, mate. You don't want to mess with you met me. I'm 6'6" on Zoom. In case you're wondering, that has been the maddest thing about a remote company. Whenever we meet in real life, everyone's just like, "I thought you were taller. I thought you were taller." I'm like, I'm not that big. I'm interrupting today's episode to mention our sponsor. Talent Ticker are here to help everyone who are in such a candidate short market, right? So if you're looking to grow your recruitment business in 2022, you know candidates are important, and Talent Ticker are here to help. What they do is they help recruiters work smart and not hard. They've got over 300 agency clients, recruitment agency businesses that use Talent Ticker, and that helps them connect to the right person at the right time for the right reason. Okay. It also automates a lot of monotonous tasks we use and provides simple tools to identify ideal and off-the-grid candidates, people that are under the radar for open roles. So if you like the sound of finding more deeper level talent that's not exclusively on LinkedIn, for example, then get over to www.get.talentticker.ai/Hoxo. You'll find the link in the episode. And go and take advantage of the special offer they've got on there for our listeners. So you guys, early COVID, so then when it come to the first full lockdown, you remember the weather was beautiful, the country was fucking weird, everything was odd. I remember I went on this mad exercise regime and 75 hard and built the academy, and it was just a weird time of my life. I was about to leave my wife. It was mental. But there was pros and cons to that time. And you guys obviously were dealing with that with Alan. How did you cope with being at home and being isolated?
Quite quickly, didn't it? I think the I guess, look, be fair to Alan, he was like, well, you know what, if it's going to go that way, then let's just get it done and dusted. So the solicitors drawing up papers, it was pretty quick. And we kind of parted ways. We then decided to shut the business because it was the best point to kind of close up shop and everybody kind of go home. There was no working from home because it was it was pointless. So the next 3 months, I mean, like a lot of people I've heard on your podcast, it was brilliant. I mean, I had a young son who was probably, I think he was about a year old or so at the time, and it was brilliant. I probably had the best 3 months of my family life that I've ever had. My wife wouldn't say the same, to be honest. I was driving her absolutely potty, but I done a lot of landscaping in the garden, to which you come around and charge your back. Remember when you were allowed to come into the garden? Charge your back within about 5 minutes. You were useless to me, to be fair.
Project management.
Yeah. And it was actually a good time. I actually, funnily enough, I think I was the only person that placed anybody during that period, and I placed the health and safety director with a company called Maris, and naturally, I guess because he had to be on site to run the whole COVID structure and stuff for them. So yeah, it was a strange time for everybody.
Did you keep the team on furlough? What did you do with the staff? Like obviously,
there was a combination that some people wanted to kind of we let a couple of people go, that wanted out. We put some people on furlough that wanted to stay part of it. Really strange story actually. There's a young guy that works for us that we've kind of said, look, he'd only been with the business for about a month, literally a month. And he didn't I don't think he actually equated for furlough, did he? I don't think he was able to get it. So we said, look, ultimately we're going to let you go. And then about a week later, we were like, no, this is a bad idea. We think this kid's got promise. He's actually probably one of the largest billers that we've got now after training him from being a box lifter to a recruiter. So yeah, I mean, what was it like for you?
It was, well, like a lot of people, initially we thought it was going to be 3 weeks, which then turned into 3 months. But I don't know, there was always the pressure of the business in the background, but it was almost like there wasn't anything you could do about it. At that time, there wasn't any support from the government. There was talk about it, but we didn't know what was coming. I mean, yeah, I just, like I said, the weather was beautiful, and I like my garden. We went out for walks when we could, and you just kind of, I don't know, the pace of life just slowed down for 3 months. And listen, you need money in this world to live, but I think the majority of people actually enjoyed taking their foot off the gas. We were forced to, but after that initial week or two, you just had to buy into it because there wasn't anything you had to do.
My stuff didn't slow down at all. Like it slowed down it slowed down with sales. Oh, it just literally fell off a cliff in April and May. But I was like, well, we let 2 people go. We went remote. It's like, well, what are we going to do? Sit and we had to get out there. We had to put more content out. We had to be like, I went daily with the podcast. I built the academy. We were like, we need to be, and then the market just picked straight back up. And it was from a business perspective, we did really well in it. That I know others, but I didn't have any time off, not a single weekday off. Like it was, if anything, I worked more than normal because there was no distraction. And sometimes I'm a bit jealous when I hear about people like you that had a bit of time. I'm like, that'd be nice. It's like everyone retired for 3 months and then came back to life.
So we had the complete opposites when we started realizing how long it was going to go on. You know, the anxieties come. You know, we came back to meet, didn't we? I think when we were allowed to kind of go back, we met for a couple of hours just to test what was going on, speak to a few clients.
We come back for one day.
One day,
I think
we
it was
realised
like the 1st of June or something, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Something like that.
The market was dead. You know, we ended up then having a couple of people that had been with us for 6 years who we'd trained. Decided one wanted to leave the industry, the other one just wanted out. You know, and that was the part I think where the business started to really crumble.
Yeah. How do you deal with that? Like personally, when someone says they want to leave, and then another goes and another goes, how do you personally deal with that? Because it can take it's hard not to take it personally when it's your own.
It is. I think when it's tough at the beginning. I think you take it like a kick in the nuts. I think, you know, it is personal. I think the first, they were the guys that we'd kind of grown up with in the business. We'd really developed them and we'd become, you know, almost like friends. And I think that was a wake up call that you realize that your staff aren't necessarily your friends, you know, and it's that relationship is what it is. You can have some people do, they have that very, very good relationship outside of work as well. But it was tough. We took it personally for a couple of them, but after a while you realise that, you know, ultimately people get one shot at life, and if they're unhappy doing what they're doing, then you've got to accept that and, you know, shake hands and walk away from it. But it was tough for us because we were sitting there thinking, right, well, how are we going to pick the pieces up from here? You know, at that stage I wasn't necessarily on desk, so to speak. I think you still were, weren't you? We'd lost pretty much 70% of our top billing or top performing team, and we genuinely had to grind out and start again. And then January came around, which was a whole nother story, because that was the moment I think when we both, Tony's a very placid guy, and he's very, very balanced. You know, I'm the opposite, and with a yin to a Travis Yang, but I think at that stage was the point where I thought, wow, shit, this is actually going to go completely.
Is that when they went into that other?
We come out in December and we were doing pretty well. Yeah. In January we had really good numbers on the board, and we're thinking, great, right, you know, it's over now, we can go.
Because all your everything you recruit is out there, physical, isn't it? It's all on the ground doing stuff. It's not. Do you do any office roles that could?
No, not a lot of it is. We're very much more white collar based, in fact.
Right.
So a lot of what we do is we've got a trades and labour team that deal with the contract side of it, but we're very much white collar. We've always been white collar. It's site manager up to director level. So, you know, most of them are. But
are those businesses still reliant on?
They are, yeah.
Their teams out. Yeah.
Yeah, they are. They're construction teams, and people kept saying to us, "Oh, construction's still going. You guys must be all right." And you think, well, if you actually look at it, they were down by 70% of people allowed on site. It was a car crash for everybody.
There was a lot of the house builders still carried on through COVID, but the majority of construction stopped. And like I say, the reduced numbers on site. It took a while from when we come back for it to start pick up. And like Jamie said, as we were going into November, December, everything was again on the rise. It was really positive. We had Christmas off. We had good numbers booked for January. And then I think we come back on the 3rd of January, and on the 4th of January, they went into lockdown too. And it kind of, you know, for me, like Jamie said, I am quite a relaxed guy. You know, I'll take everything in my stride. But I think if I've ever had one real down moment in this business, it was most probably January of that year. That was the, you know, can we pick ourselves up again? Can we go again? You know, have we got it in us? You know, we've suffered a few punches now. You know, we've taken a loan out. You know, we took a loan again. We had a choice. You know, do we just sit in a room and recruit ourselves, or do we take a massive loan out that would not support just the business, but we have people in our business who have children, who have mortgages. Yeah. You know, we have responsibility to people. You know, do we? You know, we took that burden on. We took that money. We'll go again, and then in January for it to happen again. was
so you already took the loan, and then oh shit.
Yeah,
we were deflated massively, and I think that was the first time that I personally believed that this was going to go, and I think we both hit rock bottom, mentally. I think we were in a real tough place, and I think we find, usually one of us picks the other one up, and we were both flattened, and it was really difficult.
It was a devastating. It was, not obviously just for us, for others, but it was just a devastating blow, just to kind of feel like we'd weathered it to go again. And I don't know, whatever people's opinions on COVID is and the rules around it, it really did mess with not just us, you saw it across obviously all the, all the restaurants, all the hotels, obviously aviation, so many industries suffered from it. But that January lockdown really did, I think, as a business, test us. I think ultimately what we didn't know was that it would mostly have one of the biggest positive effects on the business going forwards, coming out the other side of it. Just in terms of it actually allowed us to just refocus. We picked ourselves up.
Did the market did it come to a complete standstill again, or did you
did for a while? Yeah, it did. But we kind of managed to pick ourselves up, to dust the cobwebs off. We hugged and cried, and we got to that point of maybe me crying on your shoulder rather than the other way around. But we got to that point where we said, you know what, fuck it, we're just going to go again. We're going to absolutely just do it, and we're going to stick our heart and soul into it. And if we fail, then we fail knowing that we gave it everything. Not unlike some people in our industry that just, are kind of thrown in the towel and leaving people in shit. As Tony said, we got responsibilities to people. So we went again, and what it allowed us to do was to re-strategize, refocus on what was good, what was bad. We've made many mistakes in running a business for 10 years. We've cocked a lot of stuff up, but we've learned from those lessons. And I think having that time to reset.
So what did you do? Like, give us some examples. What did you actually do?
Learning the development function, we actually invested a lot of time into that. We've refocused on what Tony and I would do in the business, the markets that we would go into, the types of clients that we wanted to work with, excuse me, even the types of candidates that we wanted to work with. And we kind of really we went to the granular detail of what this business was really about, and decided to kind of take it in a different direction. And, whilst we're still within the same markets, it is a whole new business. It's a whole new business with a whole new culture and a whole new approach.
So you were separate again, doing it all from home for a bit, and then
we were in the office from as soon as we were allowed back. Tony and I were in it.
Yeah.
What was that, April though? Were you allowed back a bit earlier than that?
Yeah. No. When did we come? What, originally?
No. Second time.
No.
Yeah. As soon as they let us back in.
Yeah.
I think it was around like late March, early April.
I know you were allowed to go into bars and stuff on April 12th. I know that because I went out straight in London that day and met with my mates. It was freezing. You weren't allowed in. You had to sit outside. It was this freak cold day in April. I remember being like wrapped up, and everyone had like hoodies and hats on, and it was a good day out. It was good fun. But so how's the business taken shape, and what's happened since then?
Well, since then we've started going into larger clients. We've taken on a lot of getting on some PSLs and stuff like that. Construction is a very strange market to jump on PSLs because you're going through the whole vendor process, which is a pain in the arse. We've pushed into the US. We've kind of gone into Ireland in a few markets. We've started to look a little bit more internationally, and it's been really positive. We've started to get a lot larger billers across the business, a lot more of a spread, as well as that. The younger guys coming in and the less experienced are starting to build money off the back of the training program and the L&D that we've put in place. So yeah, the business has been really, really good. Look, not to sit here and say that we've flown out the blocks. I think there's a lot of people in recruitment have done very well during this period. We would have done if we had we've just constantly reinvested into the business, new platforms, new technologies. We started working with yourselves at the beginning of the year, which has been fantastic. Shout out to Tanya and Shannon, doing a great job for us. And I think Shannon, I love that.
They call themselves that. They're meant to.
I'm going to use that next time around. But and it's been really, really positive. We probably haven't hit the numbers that other recruiters have, but we've progressively got better.
Do you know what though? Like, I'm so guilty of the same thing, thinking about what other businesses do, but it doesn't fucking matter, does it? Like the truth is, you wake up every day, you put your own fucking Just Group hat on. No other business actually matters to you. It's your life with your business. Your comparison, they say, is the thief of joy, and it's so fucking true. Like,
I heard you say that actually on the note, because I've been listening to the rag since you started going, and you do realise that you have to realise that you can't play everybody else's cards. You've got the cards that you're dealt, and you need to play your hand. And it's so easy now in the modern life of Instagram and TikTok and everything else, and you think that everybody's living the best life, as they're saying, and they'll FOMO that the kids are rolling with these days. And you're constantly comparing yourself to everybody else. This is where we should be. I actually have recently, probably in the last week, deleted my Instagram and Facebook because it pisses me off.
Man, I got rid of mine. End of 2019 when. Where was it? Was it end of 2019? End of 2020? No, it was 2019. It was when me and my ex, when shit went wrong, I knew I just could not face, because she loved her Instagram, and I thought, fuck this. I'm not yeah, I was not even her. It just kind of, the whole platform I felt was very bullshit, fake. It was all about everyone watching each other, having a good day, and I was like, I want to enjoy my own day. So I switched. I basically just deleted the app off my phone. I've never got it back, and I'm a lot less like angry about it now. I can go on there and check it every now and again, but I haven't missed it, and I love not. LinkedIn is my business, but any other social platform, I just don't give a shit about personally. I think it's all it'll do is it'll make me compare my day to someone else's day, and I don't need to do that. The thing about this show is it can contribute to the negative. I get it. It can be quite negative in that respect, that every week I release an episode with someone, and we shout about £500,000 in 6 months, or 50 million turnover, and I get that. Unfortunately, that can create comparison. My intention with the show is to give people some form of insight from everyone. So it's not, if you can sit there and listen to each guest and try and take one thing, then I'm happy.
Oh, I mean, definitely from our perspective. I mean, I literally listen to it, and there's elements where you think we could be doing better, but ultimately I think to myself, it's achievable. These guys are doing it, and they've done a fantastic job in building their businesses, and you do take certain insights from it. Actually listen to. I can't remember the chap's name, the guy down in Brighton.
Nada, yeah.
Yes, and you guys mentioned about the whole EOS platform.
Yeah.
I've been looking for stuff like that for a long time, and so I started looking into that. So you get small insights from people as to how you can constantly get that 1% across the board. And yes, you got to take the rough with the smooth. That if you do compare yourself to other people that have built a £35 million global recruitment business, and they're driving a Ferrari every 5 minutes, then great, but it gives me certainly more inspiration than it does the negative.
Right. Well, that's good. But I do get the other side. Tony, you talked about the loan you took. Like, where are you at with that? And honestly, now, like, what's the situation? You took a big fucking risk.
Yeah.
And we're now what? 18 months later, what's the situation in terms
of? So the loan obviously sits on the business. We've started paying it back. It just becomes part of our,
it's your liabilities, right?
Yeah, it goes into the costs, and it's just something we have to factor in. But
if you put yourself in a position now where you got that buffer where you're stable and you don't have to, you can easily cover that in the future, and it's okay.
Yeah. We didn't take it. You take it. No, you got to pay it back. There were certain people who took loans through COVID, knowing that they didn't have to give anything back. But again, we've always run this business, clean. We'll pay our taxes, we'll pay our corporation tax. We may moan about it, but we'll do it. And we took the loan out for the reason of, two main reasons. We had responsibility to the staff. But we wanted to go again as a company, and we're kind of in that period as a business where our costs each month against our sales, we're making money, but we're in that balance, and that's what I was saying initially. Me and Jamie could generally just sit in a room, recruit, and do really well out of it. When you build a business, there's that tipping point of costs and sales. And, you know, COVID, like Jamie touched on, you know, we look for bigger fees now. We work with more select companies. We do a bit more retained business. We're opening up in the US. You know, we've been looking at the US for quite a few years, in fact, but Brexit, COVID has delayed that until this point. But we're already quite successful in there. And in fact, we had a bit of a strategy meeting this week about, you know, the nuts and bolts of the next phase of that. And we've got, you know, key indicators for this year of what we want to hit with the US market. But the UK market is still a big part of what we do, and our staff out there. And, you know, we're driving both sides of the business. But yeah, the loan, like I say, we had to make a choice. Do we want to go again? If we were going to take a big loan, and it was a big loan, you know, we got to be all in. I think that's why that January kind of second lockdown kind of hit us a bit, because, you know, we took the loan with good intentions for the business, for us, and what we wanted.
Looking back, it was the right decision.
Yeah, of course. I mean, listen, if we had crashed and burned and the business has folded, we'd go on and do something else. We're good at that, you know. I mean, but like I say, it's you got everybody, I guess, who you speak to who owns a business. There's always an element of risk, you know. When we set the business up 10 years ago, you know, my two children then, well, they weren't children, they were like 13 and 14. But my wife didn't work, you know. I'm not doing her any justice. She worked in a school, just, you know, reduced hours. She looked after the house. We didn't have much savings. I took those savings and set up the business. Everything's a risk, and you got to back yourself, and that's what we did. And the loan was just another one of those points in you know, in our steps on this journey. Yeah, you know, and we took it. We took it with the right, you know, purposes, and we sit here today thinking, yeah, I mean, that was the right decision.
Well, it has been. I mean, for the business, we're actually probably the most financially sound than we've ever been. You know, so the business is doing very well. You look back at that loan and you think it was a saving grace at that period, but we built on that really, really quickly, and we came out of COVID, of the whole COVID process when it really kind of closed out, that we're doing pretty well, commercially viable, and you know, hit the ground running again to build. And we've done pretty well in the last 12 months. We've actually hit the largest revenue target that we've had. So, you know, it's all going in the right direction. We've just got to keep level-headed, keep strategizing,
keep moving forward. Yeah, keep moving forward, keep innovating, keep coming up with new ideas, you know, Jamie's fantastic on systems and bringing systems into this business. You know, as a small business, and we are much considered obviously a small business still, I would say our back end of our business in terms of systems and that would rival a lot of companies out there, big companies. So they are fantastic, and credit to Jamie. He is an innovator, a visionary. He sees that, and he's brought that into the business. And it's not just about the front end, it's the back end, it's about the service, it's everything we can give to our clients. And we are a service business. You know, I'm passionate about service. From, like I say, my early days in retail, I like people being happy, I like people enjoying the service we give. And I feel as a business, you know, that's a big part of what we are, the service we give.
You look at the same with our employees. You know, we're a small business that we are. We have I've seen debates on LinkedIn about this. We have unlimited holiday. You know, we've got an associate consultant that's probably having the most amount of holiday in the business. It's not a problem as long as they're hitting target and doing what they're doing. We pay really, really well on the commission front. You know, the salary is the same. We've just put, you know, life insurance and stuff like that in place for people that have been here for a while. So we're constantly looking to revolutionize the business and bring it up to date and give people what they need. You know, income protection insurances and stuff like that are in place that, you know, should the worst happen and COVID 2.0 come around, you know, these guys have got some level of security as well. And it's pleasing for us that we've got that loyalty from our staff as well, because we build that into our culture.
We've got a career charter that shows them, you know, I mean we've kind of always prided ourselves on not, you know, we would get to people for pay rises before they come to us, you know, and there's always the odd exception, don't get me wrong, but there's a career, you know, that it's a self-promotion tool. You know, there's metrics they need to hit, and you're promoted, you get more money. You know, it's not, people can see a career, people can see a route forward, and if that's into management or principal consultant, it's there. We just want to give them the support, the love, the tools and everything to be able to do that. And we're a couple of honest, open, transparent guys. Jamie definitely wears his heart on his sleeve, and but that's what you get from us. And we want people in our business who want to be part of that, of this project. They want to be on this, we say on the bus. We want the right people on the bus, and we select the right people. It's an important part of our interview process. That they're not just, they're not sitting in front of us and saying, "Oh, I can bill X amount of money." We look at them as a person where they fit into the team out there, because
we'll be able to give them what they need, what they want, what they're looking for in their career.
100%.
One thing I think we've learned over the 10 years, and I think if you said to me, what is the one thing you've learned over the 10 years? I hope you had that question written down. But
always waiting for that.
Always there, when of course we were. Like, is that ultimately, and you hear a lot of people saying this, it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. Because you can sit there and have the target of doing 30, 40, 50 million in revenue with a 10 million pound profit for the point where you get to the event that you want to sell it or what have you. But ultimately, if you don't enjoy what you're doing, then why are you going to work?
Yeah,
go and work somewhere else. And I think that's what we've learned over that time, is that fuck it, let's just enjoy the ride, and do the best that we can do, and
make time for your own families, make time for your own life, live, you can't, again, I'd imagine there's a lot of business owners out there who earn a lot of money, who sometimes at the end of it think, they haven't given themselves time, their families time, and I get that you have to put the hours in, but,
So how do you guys manage that? So Tony, your kids now, that must be
one of them works.
My oldest boy is 25, works for us. My other boy is 23. He's actually a quantity surveyor for a construction company, so he's kind of in the industry.
Right. And how often how do you manage being a dad, a husband, and a business owner? Like, what's your kind of, I guess, approach to it?
Yeah. Well, both my boys still live at home.
Great.
That I'm in no rush to boot them out. I love my boys, and me and my wife, I think it'll be a sad day. I know they'll progress with their life, but I'm not in no rush to see them go. I like their company. We're a close family. We're a very open family, and I enjoy that part of it. That they'll come to me for anything, and I'll give them all I can. It's a fantastic relationship. And like I say, my oldest boy works for me, and it's I love him working with me. It's great. And I think I'd like to think he likes working with his dad. It's but it's I like my holidays as well. Me and my wife like our holidays. Personally, I'm a big fisherman. I like playing golf. So I can go from the day here with everything I do with loads of people, and then I can go fishing on my own for 3 or 4 days, 5 days, be on my own. I enjoy my own company as well, and I think it's, everybody will say the word.
And your wife will give you that. Your wife will give you that ticket to go on your own.
She wants them out, mate. She wants them out.
I think every now and then, but I enjoy it. I enjoy it. I'm an outdoors person. Even though I've worked in an office, I love the outdoors. I like nature. I like being in it. I like being by water. I love all of that about it. And I get a lot of, it's a peaceful environment, and I enjoy
it's funny
that.
Because we're at kind of different stages in our life. For me, I've got 2 young boys. One's 10 months, the other one's coming on 4. So I'm kind of at the other end of the process of, last night, funny enough, had a power outage and had a UK power network at my house till 3 o'clock in the morning. Luckily enough, my wife's done a fantastic job of training the kids to sleep. They stayed asleep. So, a bit of a crazy one. But you've got to have that balance, as Tony said, having that time for your family. We always push through. We've been talking about our staff for 4-day weeks for 5 years before it was even popular.
Are you doing that now then? Do you do that?
Well, we had an open platform with our staff and asked them, what incentives would you like. We had a really, really open discussion for a good few hours over a few beers and pizza. And we mentioned the 4-day week. And to be honest, it kind of, I don't want to say it died. There was a couple of people that were interested, but they were like, well, we're going to be able to get all of our clients and stuff. So we think it's something that we're going to kind of have to either enforce or have some sort of hybrid solution that, people we'll make people work from home just to give them a bit of a break.
Does everyone work? Is it at the minute a 5-day office?
We work less hours than your average recruitment consultancy. I think contractually we only make people work. I think it's like 34 hours a week or something. Rather half days.
What's your time?
8 till 5 Monday to Thursday, and then 8 till 3 o'clock on a Friday contractually. But we always run incentives about giving time. The one thing you can't buy is time. So we're always saying, look, let's hit these metrics collectively as a team, and we can all go home at 12 o'clock on a Friday or have Friday off. We run something called the Green Light Gang, which is basically where we've got like specific metrics, as every recruiter has. We try and stay away from KPIs, but real kind of revenue generating metrics. And if people hit them, then they that's it. They go home.
Go home at 12 o'clock on a Friday. It's a 4.5 day week. Like I say, this Friday, because it's going to be hot, we've got an incentive running that will just close the business on Friday. We want to do that. We want to give people time. We want people.
We also have a self-policing and self-motivating. It's about giving that balance. For us, we see ourselves as setting governance of a business, a platform and a structure to work within, the tools to go and do well. But ultimately, it's about that balance. Go and live your life. Don't live to work to live. And we try to really, really press that. You might. Sorry, go on.
Go on. I was just gonna. So you've been part of the running group I set up a while ago. So was it March or April you jumped in?
It was March I jumped in. I was pretty shit, to be honest, at first. I was terrible, in and out.
You've been pretty consistent since.
Yeah, April was the first time I really started getting into it, and that's been fantastic. I mean, that's probably, credit to you. It's brilliant. I think everybody that's in it says the same. I started going to the gym years ago, but I've never been a real kind of like pump iron, let's get ripped up kind of guy. It doesn't impress me, and it doesn't. People have their own needs to do it, and fair enough. But this running stuff, brilliant. It's really. I say it to you pretty much every day on WhatsApp on the group. The clarity that it gives me in the morning, it drives Tony so mad. I come in here with ADHD lined up, fired. Right, this is what we're going to do today. It's like, have a tea and relax for a minute before we keep going. But
it is mad though, isn't it? When you get out and when you get out and do it compared to the days you don't, they're not even comparable. Like the way you feel.
No, it's honestly, I literally will come in and be like, I have to kind of kickstart myself going and get it going and what have you. But I'll go running and you're pumped up. You've got the dopamine going, and again, not to kind of keep coming back to ADHD, but anybody that has ADHD knows that in order to kind of keep that, keep it kind of, I say, suppressed or flipping in your favor, you've got to have dopamine, and that allows you to operate, and it's a strange one, but faster than normal. I operate at quite a quick pace and can manage a lot of stuff, but if I don't have a dopamine kick, I can be a bit of a prick, to be honest. Not to anybody around me. I'm not horrible to people, but just a bit like spiky, and people notice that, because obviously you're either bouncing off the walls or you're a little bit down.
Well, I've noticed it even in my house, because you've got the stepkids, and they wake up in the morning and they're kids, right? And I'm not used to it. So they're 7 and 9, and I've only moved in with them 7 months ago, and I've only met them a year ago. So I'm getting used to it every day. But the days I go out and run and I come back, I'm so much calmer. I'm so much better. I know I'm better to be around. Whereas the days I've just woke up and the first thing I've had to deal with is them, I don't know, running around, asking for the remote, not getting the clothes on, just being kids. I know I'm more spiky. That's probably a really good word to use. Like, I'm definitely not. And I'm learning to be better. But I think getting up early and just getting out and doing something, whether it is gym, running, whatever, it just sets your day up. Final question then. So what does the future genuinely look like? So if you could paint the vision of the Just Group, what do you want to, where do you want it to be?
Global domination. No, it's genuinely, I mean, to a point. Yeah, we've actually the last week sat down and put together our sort of 5-year, 3-year and 1-year plan. The aim for us for the first next year is to continue the growth and expansion into the US remotely from here. The aim hopefully is by, depending on how quickly that grows, and it's kicking off really quick, that we will have boots on the ground in the US next year. Tony will probably take a bit more of an active approach on the UK and I'll do the US, and we'll continue to grow both areas. And hopefully we'll have, the aim is to have 2 offices in the US in the next 3 years, and maybe 5 years, probably sell out. I think, that's an aim. Whether that happens for both of us, as I said, we're in different stages of our lives. Tony's at that stage where he'd probably love to, take some money and retire and do some fishing. I'd love a chunk of cash to kind of secure your future, but I bounce off the walls again. So,
I think you'll always do something.
You will. I'll be there putting your bait on your fishing rod just to get you going. So, we want to continue to progress. We want to progress our people because that's important. Without them, this isn't a business. Progress them, bring on some high caliber talent, and keep growing, keep enjoying the ride, and bring people on that ride with us that want to enjoy it as well.
Yeah, the staff are important to us. Again, echoing Jamie, growing America, carrying on doing what we're doing in the UK is fine. Bringing on the people we got, enhancing them, making them better, getting them earning some real nice money, getting them enjoying their lives. I get, we get so much pleasure in giving out nice commission checks. That they work hard for us, and it's nice when they're rewarded. And just to keep growing the business like that, keep offering a service to both candidates and clients that. I always want people, the service that I expect, I want to deliver, and that's the kind of message that we give our people. So as a business, if we can offer that as we grow to everybody,
we'll be happy.
Then we will. Yeah, that's it. That will make us happy. It's very simple.
It is. It actually is quite simple, but it's difficult. It's not, and you can make it more complicated than it needs to be. I'm learning that.
We do that, don't we? We all do that.
Yeah,
we make it more complicated.
I've not figured it out by any stretch, but I'd say this year I'm enjoying it. Like, that's probably the one word I'd use. I am enjoying it more. I'm trying to enjoy it more. I'm trying to be present every day and just think I've got plans in the future, but I'm not sitting there just constantly thinking about them where I used to. I used to be in the past or the future. I was never in the fucking moment ever. And now I'm like trying to enjoy it. And I think that's really important.
That leads from something I read the other day, not to drag this out longer than necessary, but you look at something and it's either, I think everybody wants happiness, but we do it through pleasure.
Yeah. Buying
new stuff, whatever it be, sex, drugs, rock and roll, whatever it will be. But happiness is really about the things that are important to you. And I think we try to plug those gaps with pleasure, when really happiness is in front of you already, your family, your friends. And I think that's the balance, is learning to understand, to be content with what you've got, stay off Instagram, and keep yourself happy and not chase pleasure.
Yeah, exactly. I had this weekend where I came back Monday, I felt great. And the week before, I just got back from Florida and I felt like shit. But the truth is, I worked out that my weekend in Sheffield brought me more happiness than my week in Florida. It's mad, because I had alone time, I had time with my missus, I had time with friends, I had time with the dogs, I was in nature, I ate well, I exercised. I ticked all the boxes of things that make me feel good. Whereas on holiday, I did have some great things, but I drank too much, I ate too much, I felt like shit. I didn't feel great. I had loads of pleasure. I overdosed on pleasure, but I didn't feel good. So happiness, you're right, is not pleasure. It's not always linked to pleasure. Always, it can.
No, and I think we try to plug one with the other. You kind of chasing happiness, but through pleasure, and I don't think many people understand it. I actually saw a guy called James. He's a PT on funny enough, he was on Instagram. He's done a couple of James Smith, a couple of books.
I know James Smith.
Yeah, and it's brilliant. I think I actually love his just open approach to it, and it is simple. And funny enough, Tony's been saying to me for years. If you want to lose weight, and I'm a little bit overweight, I know that. It's simple. Stop eating loads of calories and run and enjoy yourself.
Move more. Eat less.
That's what I'm trying to do. Yeah, trying to get into that, and that I've found that's making me happy. Being around my kids, better relationship with my wife. And doing things that make you happy and not buying Ferraris that I can't afford.
But you know what? It's a balance, and that's a big part of the show is actually, it's not all about money. It can't always be about targets and money. It can't be. What's the fucking point? Like, you've got to, if you build a business and lose your wife and not see your kids, like is it worth it?
Well, Steve Jobs said that, didn't he? At the end of his life, there's a statement that he made that basically, chased this ambition of growing Apple to what it was, but really kind of missed what was in front of him, really.
Yeah. And a lot of the time it is in front of you. It is in front of you, but some people are always looking for the next thing. And listen, everybody has bad days. You accept that you have bad days. It doesn't matter. A bad day isn't the end of time. It's just a bad day. You can't be 100% all
like
the
England
time.
last night.
Listen, it's like business. You just have to pick yourself up and you go again. It's as simple as that. But I think for most people, they don't realise what they got around them. And sometimes for some it's too late. They don't see it until it's too late.
Yeah.
For others, they see it early and they adjust their life.
I think that's what we try to press with our staff and within your life. Be happy, enjoy it, enjoy the ride, and let's be successful together.
Of course.
And that was never ever the narrative in recruitment businesses.
Never. No target, day to day, week to week, month to month, quarter to quarter. And the funny thing in recruitment, I think a lot of people in recruitment will say this, wow, time flies because you're constantly under target. And you realise, like, shit, we're in June.
Well, to me, this year, I just think this year has been the fastest I've ever had. Like, to get to June, it's mad. Guys, I'd love to talk to you all day. We've run out of time, but thank you so much for the time. Really appreciate it. Really honest, open, as always. I know you guys anyway. If anyone does want to talk to you, just wants to pick your brains, whether it be about your experience, whether they want to work for you, whatever, is LinkedIn a good place to drop you a note?
Yeah, massive. Yeah, LinkedIn, get in touch with us. We're always open to have a chat, and whatever it will be.
Yeah.
Well, I think the founder relationship bit as well, of going through that. I mean, I've done it. Mark was an initial founder. He's no longer with us, and we've been through a similar story. It's not easy, but it's one that a lot of owners can find themselves going through. So that would be something I'd say. If anyone's got a challenge with a partner or whatever, then definitely reach out. But guys, take care. Thank you so much. Let's check in again in the future. Let's see how this journey evolves. And I wish you the best of luck. Thank you, as always, for listening to today's show. I truly, truly hope that you got value from it. That's the only reason I take time every week, is to ensure that my audience, future and existing recruitment owners, are learning from each other to make this industry that I love so much stronger. Today's episode was brought to you by Hoxo Media. I am the CEO and founder of Hoxo Media, and we are the world's leading content marketing and personal branding agency for recruitment businesses specifically. So we are working with over 200 agencies and 2,000 recruiters right now, both managing the brands, producing content, building written, video, podcast content for niche recruitment agencies all over the world, as well as coaching at a desk level individual recruiters in your businesses how to be better on LinkedIn. That's how to brand themselves. That's how to produce content. That's how to use the opportunity on LinkedIn to get traffic to their profiles and turn that into business. We're coaching people all over the world every single day. If any of that sounds of interest, please do visit www.hoxomedia.com or drop me, Sean Anderson, a personal message on LinkedIn. I would love to talk to you. Tune in again next week on LinkedIn. I'll see you soon.